Hello and welcome to Full Tech Ahead. I'm Amanda Razani, and with me today I have Sonny Patel. She is the CPO and CTO of Socotra. How are you doing?
I'm doing, Amanda. Thanks so much for having me on.
Happy to have you on the show. Can you share a little bit about your background and then what does Socotra do?
Yeah, so I have been at Socotra a little over 2 years now. And let me start with Socotra and I'll cover my background. At Socotra, we are the policy administration system that services insurance carriers, help create and manage a insurance policy, regardless of what type of insurance policy it is, throughout its life cycle. So that is the enterprise SaaS solution that we provide, specifically targeted towards insurance carriers. And prior to joining Socotra, I most of my background was at big tech. I started my career as a product manager at Microsoft, and moved to Amazon as a product manager. And during my stint there, got a chance to lead cross-functional teams. And towards the end of my stint at Amazon, I was working on Alexa, specifically the voice recognition feature, so Alexa could recognize who was speaking to her and personalize responses based on, the person asking her questions.
Wow, that is so awesome. Well, I use Alexa frequently. So that brings us to our topic today, though, which is how AI is impacting the insurance industry. So I would love to hear from you. What are some use cases that are being positively impacted through AI?
Yeah, I think there are a number of different use cases or workflows where AI can definitely improve both the efficiency of the individual working on that particular task, as well as the improve the decision making, by providing the appropriate context or appropriate, data that is relevant for making a decision at that point. So to break it down, right? I mean, insurance, the whole, the process of approving an insurance policy, as well as making any updates through it, throughout that life cycle, one has to do with a lot of document intake, right? I mean, there's just reading information from multiple sources, and those sources could be something unstructured like a PDF doc, or it could be more structured like a form. This is something, let's say, an insurance underwriter has, this is their day to day. And this is something AI is incredibly good at, and it's getting better day by day. So there is just such a natural match for bringing those both together to kind of provide a solution that makes the individual doing those tasks, day in, day out, a lot better. The other part, and this is now specifically on the advancements in Gen AI that has, absolutely boomed in the last few years, is taking this enormous amount of data from multiple sources and be able to summarize them into something that is more distilled, more consumable by the individual. And where that is helpful is in decision making. Again, that is something underwriters would have to do manually. Look, the policy application comes in, look up multiple sources across web, across their own past data, and their like other third-party sources, and distill the information that they've obtained from all of that in order to make a decision on whether that is something that they would want to approve and take on that risk or not. And these are the kind of things that we know the AI tools that are being developed right now are so incredibly good at. So that just makes it a natural match for how to utilize AI within the insurance space.
I'm curious on that last use case. So now that you're using AI for these approvals, I'm curious, are businesses seeing more or less approvals? And how can they be sure they're trusting the AI's decision-making process?
I I don't know if I would think about it as AI would make us approve more, AI would make us approve less. I think it's more, is it a tighter match between the decision made versus was that the right decision to make, right? Uh, I would think that AI would help us close that gap tighter together, because ultimately, this is the decision that an underwriter is making on behalf of the insurance carrier that they're working for, is based on the guidelines the insurance carrier has set for themselves, and this varies carrier to carrier. So they have determined for themselves that this type of risk is acceptable to us, this type of risk is not acceptable. That is a carrier level decision, and that is not uniform. In fact, we know that it's very much not uniform, even within the same carrier across multiple regions and what have you, right? So what AI can do is truly understand to say, hey, carrier, what are your guidelines that you want me to follow? And let me help you based on, you know, the information that I'm able to attain, which again, a human being can do, is just going to be a lot more time consuming, and try to give you a recommendation, but still very much keep the human in the loop. But give you a recommendation that matches as closely to your risk appetite, to your guidelines as I'm able to.
Got
So,
it.
so to me, it's not about helping approve more or helping approve less. It's about helping make the decisions that are as closely matched to the carrier's guidelines and risk appetite as possible.
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying. So much more efficient. Have you found when working with the companies, is there a technical skill set that lacks among some of the employees as they're trying to implement these new AI tools?
I think I wouldn't just say like this is specifically to insurance carriers, but I mean, us overall in the technology industry, what it meant to develop AI capabilities and use AI capabilities even 5 years ago is so significantly different than what it looks like today, right? I mean, I go back to my days in Alexa. Um, this was 2015. This was over a decade ago. Voice recognition, which was, predominantly done using machine learning. We had, for instance, an enormous data science team to support that capability, because they're essentially, building the model that was helping matching the voice print. Um, and we had to, right? Because we did not have these off-the-shelf foundational models that we do today. We did not have access to the kind of technology that we do today. And this has been such a gift to all of us working in this space. So I believe what has happened in the last few years is what building AI features, and I'll talk about what using them means as well, is rather than focus as much on the more infrastructure foundational pieces, such as, building models, fine-tuning models, the innovation has moved up into the application layer. So, for example, like companies like Socotra who are actually building out these AI capabilities. So, to me, the who I would look to hire on the team to build these capabilities actually has shifted. So, rather than starting with building, looking for an ML engineer or a data scientist, uh, really, I think because a lot of the technology is available to use by some of the AI companies like Anthropic, like OpenAI, uh, I really need to be hiring software engineers that obviously know how to use those tools, but they're building that application layer. And similarly, on the user side, what has also advanced quite a bit is the interfaces have become a lot more accessible for any of us to use it, right? I mean, there is this with ChatGPT, this merge of a very natural language ready conversational interface to access this model and utilize a model to get the responses that I want, that has just made like, which is exactly why the usage of ChatGPT has blown up, is that it became so accessible for all of us. So again, we don't have to be sitting in a lab, like, providing input to this model and getting some technical output. It's giving us the answers in natural language that we all understand. So I don't think it's the upskilling needed on the usage side, but I feel that more of an willingness to accept new ways of doing. Um, I think that is where the shift is needed, and also there might be some predetermined perceptions about using AI, specifically in an industry that is as regulated as insurance, and where decisions actually impact human lives, right? I mean, this is the financial health of, all of us, like, imagine going and applying for an insurance policy and not getting it because an algorithm somewhere made a mistake. The impact of that is huge. Um, so I think that is the shift that is needed. But in our conversations with our customers, we are definitely seeing a lot more willingness to embrace that change now, right? Now that we've been on this for a few years.
Yes, it's easy for people to get comfortable with the way they've been doing things and have a
Right.
hard time adjusting.
Yeah, but I think that once folks see how much easier the day-to-day can be, I personally find that myself, is that, like, I mean, the kind of things I would do now with the tools available, I just think it's absolute magic.
You mentioned the regulations and security a bit. So I did want to ask about that. Now that these AI tools are being used more widespread, not just in the insurance industry, but really across all industries, what advice do you have to ensure that they are meeting regulations and that this data is secure? Again, you said a lot of people are concerned.
Yeah, I feel that a lot. Like, I mean, there's a lot of discussion about this, and so let's talk about the regulation aspect of it, right? One of the things that is the area within AI that's getting a lot of attention and growing is this notion of explainability. So when a model makes a recommendation, given a certain amount input, saying that, okay, here's the recommendation or here's the output, why did it come to that conclusion? What factors went into making that decision? I mean, that whole space, it's basically explainable AI. I think that is what would help us kind of make sure, first of all, ensure that the decisions being made or the actions being taken at the recommendation of an AI by the human who is very much still in the loop, can be tracked and can be audited in future if needed. From a security point of view, I this is something I think, again, like a serious topic. Everybody's looking into it. The worry always is, again, any kind of data that is going into a model is somehow getting used to train that model. And in doing so, it's become now accessible to folks who don't have the authorization to access that data, right? And so this is something that a lot of these the AI infrastructure companies are adding guardrails against. So, for example, I think one of the capabilities we use while building AI capabilities at Socotra is AWS Bedrock. So, AWS Bedrock has these built-in guardrails that we can utilize to basically say, for example, something as simple as don't use any of the data that we are using to train the underlying model. That is one simple guardrail, but there's like it goes well beyond that. So I think that those guardrails are still being set. So it's in a lot of ways understanding how well these guardrails work and having them in place at from the start to kind of eliminate some of these barriers and reluctance the company, the insurance carriers or the users might have in utilizing the AI tooling.
Wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. So, this technology is advancing quite rapidly, as we've seen. What do you envision for the future of AI technology?
Um, well, that's a hot topic, right? This is where it turns a little bit into more of a philosophical question in terms of where is AI going. We uh, have the AI enthusiasts um, who believe it's not just AI, it's AGI, artificial general intelligence, that's right on the horizon. That is going to make decisions, not just decisions, basically. I mean, so the discussion around like what is AGI, what would that mean for how we work, is it's not just about taking in a bunch of input and generating new output based on that, but it's actually coming up with new innovation, right? So on one hand, you have folks who believe that's going to happen in the next couple years. Um, and on the other hand, you have folks who are like, no, we're very far away from that. And that is not even in the horizon. So it's very fascinating to watch that commentary. And also the timelines that get thrown around, it's, in my opinion, all very speculative. It's fun to watch and observe. What I feel is the most practical, right in front of us is I think there is a lot of capabilities available to us today that, in my opinion, not everybody is utilizing to their fullest. And one of the things that we have seen a lot of willingness, particularly in US, is investment in improving the capabilities of these underlying foundational models. That there is there's a lot of appetite for it, and again, it might go away, but at this point, it feels like everybody is improving these models. And the AI scaling laws essentially dictate that the more compute and data that we throw at these models, this is exponentially improving the ability of these models. So that to me seems like a certainty, at least for the next few years. So why not just take advantage of that and see how we can harness that power of AI to just look at what folks do on a day-to-day basis and make that a lot more efficient. And that way, and in doing so, I think we make the jobs of these individuals hopefully a lot more fulfilling, so that because they now are able to focus on the more complicated, interesting portions of their job rather than spending most of their time doing the grunt work. So that seems like this is what we should just take advantage of, right? And if AGI comes true, I think that's going to be a game changer.
Oh,
So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, if there was one key takeaway you could leave our audience with today, what would that be?
uh, I think there is. I would say we should just get very curious about what this technology can enable us to. I think what usually happens is when we start this conversation, it often either folks are just, you know, overhyped about this and think this is magic and perfect, and we know it's not. And then when that doesn't happen, get disappointed, or truly skeptical about this is a bubble, it's going to burst and it's all going to go away in a couple of years. And obviously, there's thought leaders who believe both ends of it. And my key takeaway is that why not just curious and experiment with it? And even if the technology is not perfect in 100% of the cases, which we know it won't, but humans aren't 100% right on decisions either. Uh, but we are just more willing to accept that fallacy on the human side, but not as tolerant when an algorithm makes a mistake. So why not just try it out and take on this role of experiment and observe and see where this takes us. And my bet would be that even if the technology is not perfect, I think it can just truly help in elevating both the quality of our like work life and improve the efficiency and our throughput. So to me, it feels like a no-brainer to take advantage of it. Um, and yeah, and I think, especially as a technologist, I think it's a great time to be working in that space. It's a lot of fun.
I agree. It's so interesting to watch, and you raised some great points. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. Some really insightful tips.
Yeah. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks again for having me on.
And thanks to our audience. Share what was the most interesting to you. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And have a wonderful day.